Equity versus equality. Do you know the difference? And we're going to question if you really are a Christian or not. We're going to get into it. Let's get it. Welcome. First of all, welcome. This is Unsolicited Perspectives. I'm your host, Bruce Anthony, here to lead the conversation in important events and topics that are shaping today's society. Join the conversation and follow us wherever you get your audio podcasts. Subscribe to our YouTube channel for our video podcasts and YouTube exclusive content. Rate, review, like, comment, share. Share with your friends, share with your family, hell, even share with your enemies. On today's episode, I'm going to be explaining to you guys the difference between equity and equality. I'm also going to be questioning your faith. And then I'm going to help you with your marriage. But that's enough with the intro. Let's get to the show. You know, with this whole attack on DEI, a lot of people keep equating equality with equity, like they don't understand the difference. Me, being the teacher that I am, have decided that I'm going to break it down for you guys by first giving you the definitions of both and then giving you an example of one versus the other so that you can gain a better understanding of the difference between equality and equity. I feel like it's important. I feel like you need to know that too often people use words and say words that they don't actually know the definition of. I got into huge debates with people because they said I was using hubris wrong. And I said, no, I'm not. I'm absolutely using it the correct way. They said, no, you're not. I said, okay, let's pull up the dictionary. And so when we pull up the dictionary, you see the definition and in which the context I'm using it is absolutely correct. And then they say, well, that's not normally how people use it. How people normally use things or say things doesn't mean that's the right way to say it. So people don't know the difference between equity and equality. And people keep equating equality with equity, saying if everybody gets the same thing, I don't understand how anything could be unfair. Well, I'm going to explain it to you. So the first thing I'm going to do is give you the definition of equality. Equality is providing identical resources or opportunities to all individuals, irrespective of their circumstances. So, like a uniform treatment for everyone, assuming fairness arises from the sameness. What does that mean? It means that if everybody gets the same starting point, then that means it's fair, right? Well, here's its limitation. It fails to address differing starting points or unique needs, potentially reinforcing existing disparities. Here's an example. Giving the same ladder to everyone to reach apples on a tilted tree, ignoring the fact that some people are taller than others. So this is an example. If there are apples on a tree, equality is giving everybody a ladder so that they can get up there to go get the apples. That's equality. Everybody gets the same ladder. Equality. Here's equity. Equity is distributing resources based on individual needs to achieve fair outcomes. This this adjustment supports accounting for systematic barriers, ensuring equal access to success. Let me give you guys an example. Providing tailored ladders so everyone can reach the apples regarding their starting position. So equality is giving everybody a ladder. That's equality. Equity is giving everyone a ladder based on their height so that they can reach the apples. You see the difference there? One is sameness. Everybody gets the same. But just because everybody gets the same doesn't mean that that's fair. Doesn't mean that everybody's on equal playing fields. By giving everybody a ladder, equality, but adjusting it to fit their height requirements so that everybody has the same opportunity for the apples, right? They don't get the same opportunity for the apples if you give everybody the same exact ladder. Why? Because some people are taller than others. So if you adjust the ladders, everybody still gets a ladder. So that's equality, right? But equity is the ladders are adjusted for their height. Shorter people get taller ladders. Taller people can get shorter ladders. That gives them all access to the apples. That's the difference between equality and equity. I feel like the example that I gave was pretty clear. I feel like it was. But it feels like I need to give you guys some more examples to properly explain the difference between equity and equality. Okay. All right. So let's take education, for instance. Equality is giving every student the same textbook. That's equality. Here's where the problem comes in. Some students have dyslexia. Some people have vision impairments. And because of these situations, they can't access the material. Equality is everybody gets the same book, but that doesn't necessarily equal fairness. So, how does equity come into play? Equity is providing audiobooks or large print text or assistant technology to the students based on their needs. That's fairness. Equality doesn't equal fairness. Equity equals fairness. You see, equality is uniformity, same treatment for all. You would think in and of itself that would be fair, but it doesn't account for certain limitations, right? Equity is fairness because it's customized support to the level the playing field. Equity acknowledges systematic disadvantages and unequal starting points. The purpose is aiming to close the gaps through targeted measures. That's what equity is. But I still feel like you guys aren't getting it. I know I'm beating a dead horse, but I got a bunch of examples. And for some people who are not getting it, I know you're going to get it from one of these examples. So let's go to healthcare, right? That's a hot topic issue. Let's go to healthcare. Equality is charging everyone the same fee for a doctor's visit, right? That's equal. Everybody gets charged the same thing for a doctor's visit. Well, what's the problem in that? Well, people have different economic means, right? Low economic patients may not be able to afford the cost to go to the doctor, which means that they won't go to the doctor. So, how can we provide equity, fairness, offering a sliding scales of fees or free clinics for underserved populations? You see the difference? Equality, everybody pays the same price and has access to the doctor. You got access to the doctor, you got to pay this price. That's equality. But not everybody got that same paper. So, a sliding scale based on your economic situation gives you access to the doctor. Some people will be out there saying, well, wait a minute. Why should why should I be punished just because I make more money? Why should I be punished just because I'm taller? You're not being punished. You're not being punished. That's the problem. The problem with people looking at equity is that they feel like it's taken away from them. In both examples that I've given you, in the education or the apples, or even in the healthcare, what exactly is being taken away from you? Nothing. Nothing is being taken away from you. And you fail to realize that you may have had advantages to get you to that point. We can't help what our height is. We can't help the two people that got together to create us and what their height was. I'm an anomaly in my family. I'm 6'4". There is nobody else in my family that comes close. My dad says he's 6'1". He's really 6 foot, right? All my cousins and my uncles, 6 foot or under. My grandfather was a big man, but not necessarily a tall man. Where the hell does my height come from? Why is it that I'm taller and my sister and my brother are shorter? Like, they didn't have any control over that. You don't have any control on where you're born, right? You don't have any control of your family's economic means. Some people are born into families that have more economic means than others. Instead of saying, well, why do they get this and I can't get that same thing? Look at the fact that you got a great starting point. Or maybe you didn't get a great starting point, but maybe you got a break somewhere, right? You say, well, I didn't grow up with a lot of money, but I made my way through school. Maybe you're intelligent. Congratulations. Not everybody is. Not everybody is. Okay. Congratulations. That's your advantage. And you say, well, no, no, no. I worked hard. Well, everybody works hard. There's a lot of people that work hard that don't improve their lot in life. There were some lucky breaks that you got that gave you some advantages over the next person. So acknowledge that. And why do you want to take away from somebody else when it doesn't affect you? It doesn't affect you. It doesn't. What you're looking at is you're saying, well, everything should just be equal, where everything isn't equal. Starting points aren't equal. That's the reason why we need equity. But I still feel like people are not hearing me. Maybe you're not even listening to me. So let's go to the workplace because everybody can identify with that. Equality is requiring all employees to work a 9 to 5 in the office. That's equality, right? Everybody got to come into the office, work this 9 to 5 in the office. Hell, that's what the administration is making people do right now, right? Okay. Equity is allowing flexible hours, remote work, or job sharing arrangements. Why would you do something like this? Maybe because people have kids, or maybe they're disabled employees who may struggle for the rigid hours. You know, I dated a woman who had, it's slipping my mind. You know, that problem when you fall asleep, you can't control it? It's a medical condition. Y'all, it'll come to me later. Some of y'all are yelling at the screen or yelling at your headphones saying, Bruce, this is what it is. It's slipping my mind right now. But I dated a young lady that could not control the fact that she was going to sleep. It was in her employee records. Her boss didn't know this. Her boss thought that she was just falling asleep at the desk all the time. She said, no, I have a condition. It's in my employee records. And her boss was like, oh, okay, I'm sorry. I was going to write you up or reprimand you for falling asleep at your office. There are people that have medical conditions that don't allow them to work 9 to 5 in the office. You got so many people out there that are yelling and screaming about why are these people complaining? Why should they get remote work? Have you seen a theme here? Typically, the people that complain about equity is because they feel like it's unfair to them. Why don't I get a chance to work from remote? Well, maybe you don't have a job where you can work from remote. Have you ever thought of that? Maybe you chose a career path where that opportunity isn't given to you. What difference does it make? What difference does it make to you? Too often people worry about other people instead of themselves. And that's the reason why you often get some combating against equity. All right, okay. I got a few more examples because people still ain't hearing me. I know there's some people in the back of the room that's still not hearing me. Public services. Installing stairs at public building interests is equality, right? Front door, stairs. Everybody can get in the building, can move around the building. That's equality, right? Well, what's the problem there? There are people in wheelchairs or with mobility issues that can't enter or climb stairs. Equity is building ramps, elevators, and automatic doors. So this is something that people didn't realize. Everybody got on DEI because they thought it was black. Black, 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 black. And if black people are given something in this country historically, on law books, right? On the books, on Constitution, amendments, state constitutions, black folks getting something, people in this country fight against it. This is not an opinion of mine. This is literal fact. Everything black people get in this country, people literally fight against it with full piss and vigor, right? I mean, you got grown adults yelling and cussing at elementary school kids just because of integration. Like, this is a real thing. So DEI has been attacked as black, but that's not what it is. It's for people that have been disenfranchised for a variety of reasons. Some of them are physical. The reason why we have ramps and elevators in building are for people who physically can't move around like that. That's a part of equity. That's the E in DEI. So DEI is not black, right? It's everybody that's been disenfranchised. Women, everybody that's been disenfranchised. White women, everybody. So when you say that we're going to attack DEI and this is broad sweeping thing because black people shouldn't have this and that. This is what they're essentially saying. Whether you want to admit it to yourself or not, when you're against DEI, that's exactly what it is. Okay. You've been programmed. You've been programmed to be against anything, any type of black progression. You've been programmed, whether it's school, your history, television shows, you've been programmed. Whether you realize it or not, this is the truth. Even if you don't want to feel that way, even if you are fighting it against it, you've been programmed at birth to fight against black progression. But DEI is not solely black. DEI are for those physically handicapped people who can't get around. So you're against physically handicapped people? That's what you're basically saying. And when you make these sweeping, broad attacks on DEI, those people are affected. Oh, wait a minute. We didn't want to do that. No, yeah, you did. Because you were attacking DEI. You were attacking the equity part. All right. Let's do some disaster relief, right? So you had the hurricanes in New York, you had some stuff going on in other parts of the world, you got the fires in California, there's disaster relief, right? You Equality is you distributing identical food packages to all the disaster survivors. That's equality. Everybody gets food, right? That's all fair. Everybody gets food. Well, what could be the problem? Some families with infants need formula. Others may need medication. Some could be insulin resistant. Some could have Crohn's disease, so they had to get certain food. So equity is customizing the aid based on the specific needs of the disaster survivors. That's what it is. So look, I've given you so many examples. I had more. I just don't feel like giving you any more. Like if you don't get it by now, I can't help you. If you don't get it by now, the reason why your lot in life is so bad is because you're dumb. I'm sorry. Like, look, I'm learning. I've been learning since college. And I don't like to say it often, but I guess if you listen to this show routinely, I do say it more often, but I don't say it that often in my life, personally. I have above average intelligence. And the reason why I know that I do is because I measure myself and my intelligence, the way I think, the way I react to certain situations, the way I research, comparative to other people going all the way back to college. Because in high school isn't really a clear determination of if you're intelligent or smart, right? It's a if you have a good memory, if you can memorize a lot of things, and even college to a certain extent, whether you're depending on what your major is, it's can you memorize a lot of stuff? And some people in high school are just harder workers. Like I was not a hard worker. I've actually never been academically a hard worker. Like this has not been my thing. I'm a hard worker in life, like to get jobs done. I'm hard, but just academically, I realized if I wasn't being challenged intellectually, I I learned this in college. If I wasn't being challenged intellectually, then my mind was going somewhere else. Like I couldn't focus in school. So high school, I rarely was there a real challenge. Not to say I got straight A's because I didn't, because I didn't believe in doing homework, so I just didn't do it. But high school is not a clear indicator, right? There's standardized tests, and you're like you don't really know how smart or intelligent or how dumb you are in high school. You not really, not really. college or when you get into your adulthood, when you're no longer segregated. So in elementary, middle school, and high school, they segregate you in class based on your academic performance, right? You got accelerated classes, you got average classes, you got below average classes, right? And even below that, you got remedial classes. So you're segregated. So everything is everything is based in equity. Well, or at least they try. Based in equity, like you're placed in the classes that your academic performance says that you should be in. But when you get to college, there's no separation and you're commingling. And because you're in college, and I'm specifically talking to people that went to college. I'll get to people who didn't go to college in a minute because you can also see the difference just in everyday life. But when you go to college, it's like all at the starting point. Some people may have came in with higher GPAs in high school or higher SAT scores, but we're all in this class. And the cream rises to the top and you realize, all right, I'm supposed to be around all these intelligent people. Why aren't people like getting it like I get it? And not say that I got everything, but like when we would have discussions and we're talking about what we've learned, some of these people really, really didn't get it. So I kind of got it in college. It's when I got into my professional world. And you're just an adult. You get into your 30s and your 40s, and you're just having conversations with people. I love meeting people. You just have conversations with people, and you realize, generally speaking, people are dumb as hell. And that's how I found out I had above average intelligence. So I said all that to say this. If after this explanation, and remember, I went to school to be a teacher. I think I laid this out pretty clearly. It's very detailed with examples across the board. If you still don't understand the difference between equality and equity, it's for one or two reasons. Either you don't want to understand it or you can't. And for both of those people, those that don't want to and those that can't, I can't do nothing for you. I try my best. Good luck in life. Are you really a Christian? Now, this is a question that has been popping up in my mind a lot. And I guess it really, really started going all the way back to when I was a little kid. My dad was a pastor. My uncle was a pastor. I grew up in the church. People would say, well, you're not very Christian right now because they equate your religiousness with going to church. And I don't go to church. I grew up in the church. Church is long. It is really tough to hold my attention. There's a lot of, if I could just get the sermon, just go in and get the sermon, 20, 25 minutes, sermon, and be out, that's cool. But I don't know if y'all should go to a black church. For the people that haven't been to a black church, you go to a black church. Black church is long. And you go to any other church that's not a black church, is boring. So I just praise my Lord in private on Sunday before I start my debauchery. But there's a lot of people out here that are calling themselves conservative Christians and saying that they are spreading the word of Jesus Christ. But are they really? Just because you go to church doesn't necessarily mean that you're a Christian. Just because you say that you're a Christian doesn't necessarily mean that you're a Christian. There's a lot of hypocritical Christians out here. And I've known that since I was a little kid, because I would go to church and, Sister Mary over there judging everybody else, but at the same time, she is sinning because I know she played the numbers every week. And last I checked, gambling is a sin in the Bible. People love to judge other people's sins, but never judge their own sins. That's a common occurrence in these themes and these shows that I put, the lack of accountability of people, right? People love to call other people out, but never check themselves. So I decided to break down Christianity and the current administration. Yes, I am going to talk about some of the things that the current administration has done. Remember, current administration is Republican. They call themselves the religious and righteous right. So I'm going to examine some of the policies being celebrated by conservative Christians, and compare that to Jesus's teachings. So, yes, I gave you a lesson in the first segment, and I'm giving you a lesson in the second segment. And you may not like this lesson. You may not like it because you're learning that you live in your life afoul. But okay, the first thing that we need to do is define what Christianity is. Because I feel like it's pretty simple, but I feel like a lot of people really need to know what the definition is. So, Christianity is fundamentally centered on the teachings, life, death, and resurrection of Jesus Christ. You cannot call yourself, there are some people out there that are going to paint some semantics here, but you cannot call yourself a Christian and say that you are practicing in Christianity if it goes against Jesus's teachings. You can't. You can call yourself something else, but you can't call yourself a Christian, because if it goes against the teachings of Jesus Christ, then it ain't Christianity. But let's just focus on some of the policies that this current administration has been doing and how it's unchristian-like. Okay, let's first start off with immigration and border security. Trump issued executive orders expanding detention facilities for undocumented immigrants, restricting public funding for them, and limiting parole options. He also attempted to end birthright citizenship through an executive order, which is, of course, being challenged in court. How does that compare to Jesus's teachings? Well, policies contradict biblical teachings on welcoming foreigners and caring for the marginalized. This is Deuteronomy 10:19 and Matthew 25:35 through 40. In the Bible, it says you welcome foreigners and you care for the marginalized. You're going to see a running theme in caring and looking out for the underprivileged. You're going to see a running theme in this segment about that, right? Okay. What else has this administration has done? Well, I just said earlier, there was attacks on DEI. So let's say civil rights and diversity. The administration has dismantled DEI programs across federal agencies and repealed anti-discrimination protections in federal contracting. Let me repeat that. And repealed. This administration have repealed anti-demonstration. Goodness gracious. That's how excited I'm getting. They have repealed anti-discrimination protections in federal contracting. Okay. How does this compare to Jesus Christ's teachings? These actions are seen as opposing the biblical call to love and serve all people equally, particularly the vulnerable and oppressed. Let me repeat that again. This is going against the biblical teachings for the call of love to serve all people equally, particularly the vulnerable and oppressed. What else are they doing? They're trying to mess with your health care, trying to mess with Social Security, the vulnerable and oppressed. Okay, but they're the Christian right? All Christian conservatives swear by Trump. They prayed on him like he was the second coming. Okay, what about gender affirming care? Because that's a hot button issue. There was an executive order barring federal funding for gender affirming care for minors, including puberty blockers and hormone therapy. Okay. Christian conservatives pretty much support these measures, but it goes against, once again, compassion and care for individuals struggling with identity alignment more closely with Jesus' teachings of love and acceptance. There needs to be compassion for and care for individuals struggling with identity alignment because they more closely resemble Jesus' teachings of love and acceptance. Who were Jesus' apostles? You remember their backstories? Who did he spend most of his time with? It seems like conservative Christians have more hate in their heart than love. That's not part of Jesus' teachings. What about climate? I mean, I know you're thinking to yourself, Bruce, how has climate got anything to do with Jesus' teachings? Well, I'm going to make the connection for you. The Trump administration's continued to roll back climate control regulations and laid off NOAA employees, which raised concerns about environmental stewardship. Okay, yeah, he's trying to drill, baby, drill, right? That's what he said, drill, baby, drill. But Bruce, where's the connection to Christianity? Jesus ain't talked to us about saving the environment. So I don't understand the connection. I'm gonna get to it. The biblical teachings of Jesus emphasize caring for creation. That's Genesis 2:15. Making sure actions inconsistent with Christian values would be what this administration is doing because they're not caring for creation. With another example, Trump said we don't need the trees from Canada. We got beautiful trees. We can just cut down trees. They've taken off certain restrictions for parks and things of that nature. That's not caring for creation. Once again, that's in Genesis 2:15. That's how I made the connection. You didn't think I was going to make that connection, but I made the connection. Jesus' teaching has taught us to care for creation, to take care of it. All right, then you got federal spending and workforce reduction. Right? Okay, Bruce. I think you're going to make a real reach for it now, right? How does that have anything to do with Jesus' teachings? I'm gonna get to it. The administration has implemented significant layoffs in the federal workforce and suspended federal aid to enforce fiscal discipline. That's what they say. That's what they say. But these measures neglect the biblical call to care for the poor and vulnerable. Proverbs 31:8-9. When you're firing people for what you say is waste, fraud, and abuse, but not giving any real details of why these people are being fired, just generalize waste, fraud, and abuse, but not pointing, here's the waste, here's the fraud, here's the abuse. You're not taking care of the vulnerable and the poor. Because what are these people going to be without a job? Poor and vulnerable. I don't think that's a stretch. I really don't. You got a lot of conservative Christians calling for the firing of people. And I'm like, oh, okay, so you just want them to not have a job? What is your solution to them not working? Because you are consistently, Republicans, once again, part of the conservative right, Republican Party, are routinely cutting down food vouchers for children from economically depressed homes. So you don't want to feed the kids. You don't want to feed the poor. You don't want to take care of the sick. You don't want to take care of the poor. Everything you do is, we don't care about them. Figure it out, which is totally against Jesus' teachings. Are you seeing a connection? I hope you are. Then you got the Religious Freedom Task Force. Okay, this is a task force that was established to combat alleged anti-Christian discrimination, though critics view it as unnecessary given Christianity's dominance in the U.S. politics. People keep saying there's a war on Christmas. I celebrate Christmas every year. Nobody's ever stopped me from celebrating Christmas. Nobody has ever said, oh, you celebrating Christmas? Nobody has ever said that to me. Where is this war on Christmas? They create any type of nothing. They create something out of nothing every time. There is no war on Christianity when Christianity is the dominated religion in this country. But how does that correlate to Jesus' teachings? Rather than promoting humility and unity, they're fostering division by implementing this task force. Humanity and unity are central to Christian teachings, which was central to Jesus Christ's teachings. Because once again, Christianity is the teachings, life, death, and resurrection of Jesus Christ. So you have humility versus pride. right? Pride is a sin. It's one of the seven deadly sins, as a matter of fact. Trump's rhetoric often emphasizes self promotion and winning and power, values seen as an antithesis to Jesus' humility and servitude leadership. Jesus was about helping people. Trump only talks about himself. He only talks about himself or people that he's trying to put in power. He'll big up you if he's trying to put you in power or give you some of his power or put you in a position to help you win a race. Then he'll big up you, but everything still falls back to him. Yeah, I'm going to go into his district and talk to his people. And, they came out to see me and he's going to get a big boost from that. It's always about him. Care for the marginalized. This is another, I went over it over and over and over and over again. The differences between the policies of the administration, who, religious right, remember, and the teachings of Jesus Christ. So you got the care for the marginalized. Many of the policies prioritize national interests over compassion for immigrants, refugees, and disadvantaged, contrasting with Jesus' emphasis on loving one's neighbor and aiding the oppressed. This is Matthew 22, 37 through 39. I can literally point you to the scriptures where this administration is doing the opposite of what the scriptures tell you to do. And division versus unity. Most of the policies that are part of this administration is fostering fear and division. Stand against the opposition. That's what they're doing, right? Stand against the opposition. It's us against them. Trump has never said anything positive about a Democrat since he became a Republican, because remember, he was a Democrat, but it's convenient for him to become a Republican. He's never said anything positive about a Democrat. If you can find it, please tweet it, DM me, email it to me, text it to me if you got my number, where he says something positive about a Democrat. It's all about those people over there versus us. Where Jesus was about bringing people together and peace. That's what Jesus was talking about, bringing people together and peace. Polar opposites. So while you may consider some of these policies conservative Christian policies, they're not the teachings of Jesus. And I'm going to give you the key differences between the two. So conservative Christian policies versus teachings of Jesus. Conservative Christian policies focus on enforcing traditional family structures. I guess nothing is wrong with that, right? But the teachings of Jesus, who was a genius, of Jesus emphasizes on inclusion and love for all people. We can definitely say that conservative Christian policies don't emphasize inclusion and damn sure don't have love for all people. Their policies are specifically implemented to hurt people. And when you say that you don't want to give gender affirming care to minors, you're saying you don't think they deserve it, you don't believe in it, you're hurting them. It's true. Christians, conservative Christians, do advocacy for religious freedom, even if it leads to exclusion of other religions. Jesus' teaching does a call to serve others without discrimination. Conservative Christian teachings emphasize on individual responsibility over systematic solutions. The teachings of Jesus is advocacy for systematic care for marginalized people, kind of like feeding the hungry. Like that was one of the big things that Jesus talked about, feeding the hungry. But you got conservative Christians, once again, in the Republican Party that are against feeding the kids. They are voting against feeding the kids. Okay. All right. Conservative Christians believe in respect for authority and tradition. Law and order party, right? The teachings of Jesus is a willingness to challenge unjust systems and authorities. So you can't get any more opposite of that. So I said all that to say this. If you believe that you are a conservative Christian, that you go to church all the time, that you believe in all the policies or the majority of the policies of the Trump administration of stripping people of equity, okay? Stripping people of equity, stripping people of their right to be themselves. Because in your mind, you can find certain passages in the Bible that can back up your statement. I'm telling you, those go directly against the teachings of Jesus. You're not a Christian. Sorry to bring it to you. You're not a Christian. If you want to be a Christian, follow the teachings of Jesus. And the teachings of Jesus is to love all and care for those most vulnerable. It don't get no more clearer than that. So when I got together with my boys, I was just, I'm not in a committed relationship right now. I don't even know what that means. That didn't come out right. I'm not in a relationship right now. But, as I've said on this podcast many times before, I have been married. So I'm going to give everybody some marriage advice. And basically to the husbands out there. Or the males in a heterosexual relationship, but I'm sure this can apply to every type of marriage, every relationship. But I'm specifically speaking to the dynamics of a husband and wife. I was talking to my boys, and they have differing situations. Both of them are good. Both of them have really good situations. They're just different, and everybody has different situations, right? You have a different situations when you go to the gym. Different workouts. People have different situations. People do what work for them. But as I was listening to them go back and forth, I reminisced about the time that I was married. And I will openly admit, I did some things wrong. I like to say that she did the majority of things wrong, but that's coming from my perspective. She has a different perspective. And you know what? We're probably both right. We're probably both right and both wrong at the same time. And you're going to say, well, how can you be both right and both wrong at the same time? It's all by your perspective. Obi-Wan Kenobi told Luke Skywalker that Darth Vader killed his father. Then Luke Skywalker finds out that Darth Vader is his father. And Luke says, Obi-Wan, you lied to me. And he said, I didn't lie to you. I just told you a perspective from a certain point of view. And that point of view was Anakin Skywalker died when Darth Vader was born. So he wasn't lying. He was both right and wrong. So same thing when I look at my marriage or the failed marriage. And failure is not the right word. Things just didn't work out. Okay. So how could those things be, right? How can we look at things from different perspectives? And this is because husband and wives come from a different starting position. Yeah, I'm bringing it back to equity. And it was funny because the algorithm must have known what I was thinking, and a clip popped up. And this clip is from at She Is Paige Turner. So it's at She Is Paige Turner. She has a TikTok page, Instagram page. She's got some really interesting content. I, suggest you go check it out. She's got some cool things to say. And the title of the clip was Why I Consider Divorce. So I'm going to give you just a quick summary of the clip that I wrote down because, I'm a writer and I had to write it down. So Paige Turner has been married for nearly 20 years, and she's basically talking about her near divorce experience 3 years ago due to an unequal division of household labor and a mental load. Despite her husband being supportive on paper, she felt overwhelmed managing childcare, chores, and full-time work while her husband relied on her to delegate tasks. A breaking point occurred when he repeatedly forgot responsibilities. Basically, this is what happened. She said that she was mentally burnt out. right? She contends at the beginning of the video that her husband is excellent on paper. And if she asks him to do something, she asks him for help, he does it, right? She said she is mentally just taking a lot because she works full time, he works full time. She's the program manager in the house. She says, I need you to take some load off. He said, what can I do? She said, I need to at least start my day off right. So can you do this for me in the mornings? Can you make sure the trash has been taken out and all the clean dishes, because they run the dishwasher every night because they got 4 kids, which means they're going through a lot of dishes. I can't imagine running the dishwasher every night. I run it once a week, but I'm one person compared to 6. So I get it. And so she said, take the clean dishes out of the dishwasher and put them away. If you could just do those 2 things for me in the morning, it would give me a great start of the day. So he said, okay, no problem. And he was doing it well for a little while. Then a couple of times he forgot. So she had to remind him. And then one time he completely didn't do it. She called him and was like, how come you didn't do this? Because she needed to get something for the baby and it was still in the dirty dishes. So she's furious. And he was like, my bad. I was running late for work. And she was like, you didn't realize that by you not doing this, you now made me late for work because I still got all this stuff I got to take care of the house. And the one thing that I asked you to do, you didn't do. And now I'm jacked up. And so she felt like, even though she knew her husband loved her, that he didn't see her and see what she was going through. And it was leaving her as depressed and unseen. And I guess you can kind of like, you don't know the work that I put in. You didn't realize that because you didn't empty the dishwasher, because you didn't take out the trash, just because you were running late, that was going to make me late. You didn't even think about me. So she realized that their societal gender norms had ingrained unequal roles in the marriage. Mothers are also often held to a higher standard, while fathers often contribute less, right? This is true throughout most marriages. Though they had open communication, their effort to improve upon things took 18 months and therapy, but eventually they worked it out. Why is this important? Because as I'm listening, it's a 5-minute video. And once again, it's by it's at She Is Paige Turner. And the title of the video is Why I Consider Divorce. And why I listened to this 5-minute video is because I understand what she was saying. I get it. For my men out there, have you ever cooked for people and then they complain about the food as they're eating it? How does that make you feel? It makes you feel like shit, doesn't it? So, how do you think it makes wives feel when, one, they have to ask you to do stuff, and two, they have to consistently ask you to do it or remind you to do it, and three, when you don't do it, they come at you and you like, why are you? It's no big deal. It's a big deal because women do more the it's disproportional the work that they do. And I have a lot of female friends who are married. It is not, look, this isn't the 1950s where the men go off to work and the women stay home. It's not. Women are working. So men say, I'm tired. What do you think women are when they come home? You think they're not tired? But at the same time, you expect them to cook the dinner, take care of the kids. You know how much work that is? Because you need to relax. You want to sit in front of the TV and watch the game, have a beer and relax because you had a hard day at work. Just completely not acknowledging the fact that maybe she had a hard day at work. And maybe men, you do make more money than her. That still doesn't mean that you still don't have to really help out around the house. When I was talking to a friend of mine, because I was thinking about sending it to my boys, and I was like, no, I'm not. Because one I know is definitely not going to hear anything that this woman has to say. And the other one would also say, but I do stuff. And it's not about, for the men out there, it's not about doing stuff. It's about doing stuff right without being told to do it. And what I mean by right, when I went through the comments for this video, I saw a lot of toxic male comments, right? Like, yeah, sometimes women don't give us the space. We do it and then we don't do it right. So why even do it at all? Well, learn how to do it right. Learn how to do it right. And so I was talking to my friend, a male, educated professor, and and as we were talking, we're workshopping like why this is, and it is societal norms. Like men and women are just brought up differently. Like men will teach their sons how to shave, but won't teach them how to wash their ass properly. I got a friend, and most guys that have sons, this has all happened to. Somewhere around 6, 7, 8 years old, 5, 6, 7, 8 years old, they just don't wipe properly. And there's always streaks in their underwear because for some strange reason they're in a rush. Also, for little boys 5, 6, 7, 8, for me, it was 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right? We ain't the greatest at taking showers. And for the most part, we can get away with it. But when that puberty hits, you need to start bathing regularly. And there was a girl in the 6th grade that walked past me one time and said, I smell like butt. And from then on, I'm not playing. She said, you smell like butt. And I said, you know what? You know what I'm not going to ever have again? I'm never going to have somebody say I smell like butt. That's the reason why I got a bidet right now. But that's neither here nor there. She changed my life. I can't remember what that young girl's name is. I wish I could go say thank you because that's not something men aren't taught to clean their fingernails. How many women out here dating these dudes and they got jacked up hands and jacked up fingernails and toes? It, men aren't taught to do those things. If we're lucky, we're taught to shave, but that's just not. We're taught to how to mow the grass first before we're taught anything else. And I don't know I never knew how to clean baseboards. I had to YouTube it, and I still don't know if I did it right. One time I was staying with my mom for a couple of weeks and I went to go clean the tub, and I thought I cleaned it well. My mom came in behind me, and when she cleaned it, it looked like a brand new toilet. I mean, not a toilet, a brand new tub. And I was like, Mom, what did you do? She said, I used this. I was like, I used that too. Why didn't it work for me? I was never taught this is how you do it. I was taught how to do laundry at a very young age because I was told I need to start helping out. There's 3 kids, and most of my clothes are the funky clothes because I had gotten into puberty. I was washing myself better. I didn't smell like butt no more, except when I went outside to play. My clothes would smell like butt because that's just what's going to happen when you outside playing, you get sweaty, the clothes might smell like butt. So my mom was like, you're going to learn how to wash your clothes because I can't take it. And, for the people that are getting ready to get them teenage boys, you're about to feel it. But these things aren't taught to us. So, yeah, you can tell your husband, go wash the dishes. He might do a good job. He might not do a good job. And fellas, if you're not doing it right, which you probably aren't, listen to them, learn. What's hard? You learn how to fix something, right? You'll go on YouTube in a minute. I'll do it. I'll go on YouTube in a minute to figure out how to change some plumbing. You can't figure out how to wash the dishes properly. You can't figure out what needs to go in the baby bag. These are things that men don't think of that women just do, wives just do, and we take it for granted. And so when I look back at my marriage, and it was through this video, and no, I'm not going to reach out to my ex-wife and just be like, hey, maybe I was wrong a couple of times. She said that I wasn't the greatest at helping out cleaning. I said, we divided the rooms. I was very particular about the bathroom. She was very particular about the kitchen. Here's the problem. Here's what I learned living on my own. That kitchen need to be cleaned every single day. The bathroom don't need to be cleaned every day. The bathroom, most times, you can do it once a week. If you're anal like I am, you'll do it 2 times a week and maybe a wipe down the 3rd time a week. Just wipe down with the Clorox wipes. Just a wipe down. Not a full clean, but a wipe down. And so it was disproportional. But these were the rooms. I said these were the rooms that we picked. We picked those rooms, but they were disproportional. So she was doing way more of the cleaning than I was. And so these are things that I think husbands need to really, really examine. And unequal labor is a problem. You might think things are equal. Hey, I'm doing stuff around the house. She doing stuff around the house, but that's not equity. That's not equity. And things will never be 50-50. Like it can't be, but you can assume half of the responsibilities, right? You can assume them. And for my men out there, my husbands out there, or boyfriends out there, fiancés, you live with your partner, you live with your woman. I fall a victim to this. I have dated women and I cook for myself. I cook for myself all the time. But I've dated women and they're like, "You hungry?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm hungry." Well, what you want to do? Well, I can make something. They say they can make something. And then they do it once or twice and just like, "Yo, you gonna make some breakfast or something?" I become lazy. I become complacent. I am evolving and trying to do better. My next relationship, she's gonna get the best versions of me. She's gonna get the versions of me that the other women have never even received. One, I'm trying to consistently be more emotionally intelligent. And two, I try to treat people the way I want to be treated. So for my men out there, and hey, you got some trad wives out there, they're cool with the disproportionate equity in the relationship. If they're cool with it, y'all are both happy, cool. But for some people out there that the wives just got sick or tired of it one day and left, it wasn't one thing, it was a buildup of things. And I could tell you that women don't like telling you what to do all the time. They are already the boss of the kids. They don't want another child. They want an adult. They want a partner. That's the reason why I believe husband and wife is passe and partner is like the best thing in the world. It's the best words in the world now. Because if you have a partner, y'all are in it equally. Whereas the ideals of husband and wife are automatically unequal in the division of responsibilities. It's everybody's responsibility to cook dinner or prepare dinner. It's everybody's responsibility to clean. It's everybody's responsibility to take care of the kids. You don't like changing diapers? Don't have a kid. Don't put that all on your significant other. Change them diapers. Learn what needs to go in the diaper bag. Have it packed and prepared and ready to go. One of my friends found out that when he did things without his wife asking and did them right, he got sex whenever he wanted. Come to find out, that was a love language. And I was like, yeah, the love language is she's not tired. I said, that's not her love language, bro. I mean, maybe acts of service is, but another thing is she's not tired. If men, or if you're tired just from going to work and coming home, and I raise my hand on that too, I'm always tired. Don't never want to do nothing else because work tires me out. And I get it. Work is tiring. But women, wives, mothers are coming home from work, preparing dinner, putting the table together, getting the kids together, feeding everybody, cleaning up the kitchen, getting the kids ready for bed, trying to get themselves a little bit of time before they go to bed. And you want to slide in the bed, talk about you trying to slide in, and you better help out with some stuff. That'll give you a little bit more slide in. But I fear this is going to fall on deaf ears. Like I'm sorry, women. This is an apology for me as a man, not for me being a man. I'm not going to apologize for being a man. I'm apologizing for the way we be acting sometimes. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes y'all be acting kind of wild with it too. But I know a lot of women that are married and they tell me, they explain to me what their relationship is like. And I'm like, damn, I'm sorry. And men be thinking, yeah, I picked up kids, I did all that. I picked up dinner, you know what I'm saying? But she still got to set the plate and make the plates. Yeah, but I did, I got the dinner, you know what I'm saying? I did my part. No, no, it's not about doing your part. It's not about doing your part. It's about being a partner. I hope some men hear that, but women out there, I feel for you. It's going to take generations for men to get that way because we've just been raised and taught differently. Even me, I'm 44, about to be 45. I'm trying to learn to be different, but it's hard. because I'm constantly fighting the things that I've been taught since the day I was born. Things that just we aren't taught. So fathers out there, teach your sons how to do these things so that when they meet that woman, if that's what they decide, it may be a man, it may be a transgender woman, maybe a transgender man, which, by the way, accept it all because that's a part of Jesus's teachings. But whatever it may be, so that they're prepared in life. We need to be preparing these men to be better partners and to just take care of themselves better. Like, honestly, men out here really don't know how to groom themselves and take care of themselves. It's kind of really pathetic. But on that note, I know it was a lot of lessons here today. I cracked a few jokes. I made it a little light, but look, I would like to teach, and I hope that you learn something. That's just the reason why you come here. Crack a few jokes and maybe learn a little something. I think that's a good way for a show to run. But on that note, I want to thank you for listening. I want to thank you for watching. And until next time, as always, I'll holla. Whew, that was a hell of a show. Thank you for rocking with us here on Unsolicited Perspectives with Bruce Anthony. Now, before you go, don't forget to follow, subscribe, like, comment, and share our podcast wherever you're listening or watching it to it. Pass it along to your friends. If you enjoy it, that means the people that you rock will enjoy it also. So share the wealth, share the knowledge, share the noise. And for all those people that say, well, I don't have a YouTube. If you have a Gmail account, you have a YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel where you can actually watch our video podcast and YouTube exclusive content. But the real party is on our Patreon page, After Hours Uncensored and Talking Straight-ish. After Hours Uncensored is another show with my sister. And once again, the key word there is uncensored. Those are exclusively on our Patreon page. Jump onto our website at unsolicitedperspectives.com for all things us. That's where you can get all of our audio, video, our blogs, and even buy our merch. And if you really feel generous and want to help us out, you can donate on our donations page. Donations go strictly to improving our software and hardware so we can keep giving you guys good content that you can clearly listen to and that you can clearly see. So any donation would be appreciative. Most importantly, I want to say thank you, thank you, thank you for listening and watching and supporting us. And I'll catch you next time. Audi 5000. Peace.